What is a quality tourist, and are you one? And an international medical conference scheduled for November in Bali. Stay tuned for details. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. This is May 20th, 2023, and my name is Bruce. What is the weather like today? Not too bad. It is 30.1 degrees Celsius at 11 a.m. and the humidity is 64%, wind speed 9.4 kilometers per hour, and some clouds out, but it is a lovely day. And I hope wherever you are, it's a lovely day as well. So first story, we're going to talk about quality tourism, and I'm going to lead up to the quality tourism with a report about deportations. 116 foreigners have been deported according to the Ministry of Law and Human Rights in Bali, and they will arrange law enforcement instructions against foreigners. Yes, more on how to control those nasty foreigners. The head of the Bali Regional Office of the Ministry of Law and Human Rights, Pak Anggiat, along with the head of the Immigration Division here, Pak Baron, attended a coordination meeting this week about controlling foreigners in Bali. The meeting was held with various stakeholders to coordinate what they're going to do about these nasty tourists, especially the ones who are breaking the law and causing so much commotion among foreigners and locals. And they also talked about in this meeting getting quality tourists in. Those magical quality tourists. So one of the problems that they said was that Bali is included in the category of cheap tourist destinations. And so it attracts foreign tourists with low incomes and low expenses. Read backpackers. There were 3 points discussed at the meeting: updates on law enforcement efforts for foreign tourists who violate rules, follow-up law enforcement for controlling foreign tourists, and developments and follow-up on other related issues. Pak Anggiat said that up to May 17th, there were 116 foreign tourists deported, and they came from 34 countries. So we're getting more and more every week. As a follow-up to controlling foreign nationals in Bali, implementation guidelines will be issued. These guidelines will contain categories of violations and the application of administrative sanctions for each in the form of deportations and bans, the duration of which will be adjusted according to the type of violation. The implementation guidelines will later become a guide for law enforcement officials in taking action and imposing sanctions on foreigners who commit acts that violate laws and norms in Bali. Just what are these sanctions? Not available yet for public dissemination. So stay tuned. And now let's talk about what a quality tourist is. Now, I talked about this, 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. And for those of you that don't remember that, like me, or who didn't see that video, I'm going to go over them again because this was a topic of discussion just recently. The head of the tourism office reveals the characteristics of quality tourists, one of which is staying longer in Bali. For me, a characteristic would be staying shorter, but I guess I think on a different wavelength. According to the head of the tourism office, Jakarta Bagus Pamayun, he said, the term quality tourist has always been reverberating with various opinions viewed from various sides. Some see it from the output of community welfare, so according to them, what is meant by quality tourism is tourism that is able to provide welfare for the local community, namely the Balinese people. He said, the goal of tourism in Bali is to develop quality tourism. Currently, the reference in defining quality tourism is that stated in the regional regulation of the province of Bali number 5, 2020, and that concerns the implementation standards for Bali cultural tourism and Bali Governor Regulation number 28 of 2020. In summary, this is what quality tourism is. Pay close attention because you want to be a quality tourist, right? So from a tourist point of view, they are tourists who respect cultural values, traditions, and local wisdoms, are environmentally friendly, stay longer, shop more, make repeated visits, behave in an orderly manner by always using transportation facilities for business travel services, from business travel services. So means don't go driving your own motorcycles, your own car. Pay to have somebody drive you or rent from the appropriate place. I love how they have Shop More in there. They've probably been talking to my granddaughter, who, she's a local, but if she was a tourist, she'd be a quality tourist because she loves the shop and she's always here. And what is a quality tourist? From the side of Bali as a destination, it's where there's a management of attractions and a professional tourism industry, arranged according to the standards set out in Regional Regulation Number 5. It has sustainable nature and environment. There's a high awareness of the community to protect and preserve the natural environment, to have culture as a tourism attraction which is maintained and preserved by the community as a part of daily life. I was just watching an Instagram video of an American influencer who was here, and she's leaving Bali. Why? She said, it's too crowded. Guess where she was? In Canggu. It's too noisy. Guess where she was? In Canggu. And it's too dirty. She said the rivers are dirty, the beaches are dirty, the side roads are dirty, everything is dirty here in Bali. There's no infrastructure. So that was her take. Bali tourism governance in the future is expected to be managed in one unified region, one island, one pattern, and one governance, which aims to organize the management of Bali tourism implementation, improve the performance of governance implementation, guidance, supervision, and evaluation of tourism governance so that it's expected to provide legal certainty, security, and comfort for tourists. Okay, so what's the skinny on this? You want to be a good tourist, follow the rules, stay here a long time, spend a lot of money. Seems simple enough. And what about medical tourism, right? You know that Bali is ramping up to become a medical tourist destination with the building of the International Hospital down in Sanur, and I haven't seen it personally, but it's going up. And there will be an international medical conference in Bali 10th to 13th of November. There'll actually be another one right before that, and we'll get to that in a minute. So the International Medical Conference 2023 will be held from the 10th to the 13th, and it is supposed to stimulate discussion among global medical experts and practitioners. It will be held at the Bung Karno Convention Center in the New Bali International Hospital within the 41.26 hectare Special Economic Zone. The conference will be seeking to improve standards of medical practice here in Indonesia. Experts attending the conference will convene workshops on oncology, aesthetics, surgery, medical technology, general medicine, dentistry, medical specialties, and military medical care. And why the need to have this? Well, the need to have this is bolstered by the fact that 1.5 million Indonesians every year seek medical treatment abroad at an estimated cost of 149 trillion rupiahs. Yeah, 149 trillion. And so the government wants to keep those people here, the domestic people who've got enough money to go to Singapore or Thailand or the US or Malaysia. They want them to stay here and get treated here and hang around in Bali and spend some money here as well. Plus, they want to bring in international tourists, maybe us old folks who want checkups and those kind of things. People that have a lot of money, well, they feel better going to other places. Hopefully the new hospital will encourage them to stay here. Elaborating regarding the inspiration to hold a medical conference in Bali, Dr. Ikrar commented, since Bali is a top international tourism destination, why not incorporate a medical aspect in this demonstrated popularity? We seek to secure Bali's reputation in the future both as a tourism and medical destination. Before the conference on the 10th to the 13th, there will be the 15th International Conference on Medical Regulations, held from the 6th to the 9th, right here in Bali. And there will be representatives from 150 countries, and this will be held at the Merusakan Nusa Dua Resort. The juxtaposition in a single month in November of two major international medical conferences in Bali is supposed to cement Bali's reputation for medical tourism. I don't think we've got one yet. The plan is to have one, and that should be starting next year. And the chairperson of the Bali Tourism Board, Ida Bagus Agung Parthia Adnyana, said that holding both of these conferences in early November is incredibly advantageous. Why is it advantageous? Because it's the low season, and so they're going to be looking at 3,000 delegates and other participants coming during that time. Something that will be needed because November is traditionally a slow month here. And so everybody is happy about this conference. And here's some good news. Good work on the Bali police. 2 smugglers of 18 turtles threatened with 5 years jail. Driver paid 700,000 rupees. So he could be doing 5 years for getting 700,000. So the Jembrana police uncovered a criminal case of trade in protected animals, those green turtles. The 2 suspects come from Negara district in Jembrana Regency, and they have different roles. One was driving a truck, and the other was driving a car, following him along. The turtles were going to be sent to Denpasar, I imagine, for food. And at least one of these criminals has already been arrested for this kind of stuff before in the past. And so back to business. From the results of the police interrogation, the pickup driver was ordered to take the turtles to Denpasar. They were bought from a plantation area on the banks of a river which is located in Banjar Kepa in Tukadaya village in Malaya district. The boss of the 2 ordered the driver to transport the turtles, and he would get 1 million rupees, 300,000 of which would be deducted for fuel. And so he only got 700,000 net. Where were they taking the turtles to? To somebody named Pak Made in Denpasar. That should be easy to discover. I'm sure there's only a few Pak Mades in Denpasar. Police are currently developing this case, and more will be announced later. There was a headline I just saw a few minutes ago said that the turtles have been released. And here's something that the story just baffles me. Okay, so there's a restaurant where people like to go and be insulted. Dentist who abuses Karen's Diner staff. This is a lesson for me. So this restaurant is called Karen's Diner, I guess, and the staff there insult the diners, and that's supposed to be an attraction somehow. I think this comes from Australia. Many of my Australian friends have an unusual sense of humor. So the dentist came in to sit with some friends who were already there, and when he came in, one of the staff addressed him by his name, and he got upset because they didn't use his title. They didn't call him doctor. And so he patted the male waiter who called him by the wrong name, and then commotion got bigger. And one of the wait staff, young lady Tiara, came to defend her friends, and that made the dentist even more upset. And he said, I didn't accept it that she came in, and so I committed violence. Pushed her, I covered her mouth, and then he pulled Tiara's hair, and there's a photo in one of the articles of a bunch of hair that he yanked out of her head. The dentist said that this commotion was fueled by emotion. He hoped that the incident would not be repeated. He made an apology video with young Tiara there, and well, she didn't look like she was very happy about being in the video. And he was explaining that, he hoped he could control his emotions better in the future. North Kuta Police Criminal Investigation Unit received a report of the alleged abuse at the diner, and the reporter was a staff of Karen's Diner who was also a victim of the abuse. And the police said that an examination of the witnesses would be taking place yesterday. They had already summoned Tiara and they had already talked to her, but they have not talked to anybody else. And so that was going on yesterday. And the dentist could be in some big trouble for not controlling his emotions. And well, if you're going to go to a place where you're going to be insulted, you better have thick skin. Apparently his skin was pretty thin. I thought that thick skin came with being a dentist. I guess I was wrong. And Bulalang is in the news. Next 2 segments. Dolphin attractions prepared to become mass tourism. Mass tourism. Tourists can enjoy from these 4 beaches. So there is a plan now to bring mass tourists into the Lovina area to go and see the dolphins, right? This is a big thing up here, one of the major attractions up in Buleleng. And according to the tourism office, they are going to be bringing in people by bus from Java to do this. And so they set up 4 different places, 4 different beaches for this kind of a thing, where you can have all of these tourists from Java coming in to go see the dolphins, because they have to have parking areas. Well, one of the things they're going to have to do is prepare some infrastructure. There are going to be 4 entry points. That's in Penambangan Beach, Happy Beach, Teluk Agung Beach, and Binaria Lovina Beach. That's where the dolphin statue is. And those places were picked because they've got bus parking available there. And so the infrastructure is going to have to be upgraded somewhat, especially toilets. You got a lot of people, you're going to have some toilets. And so there's going to be more toilets built in the area, and that will be a joint cooperation effort with village-owned enterprises and traditional villages and some third-party assistance. Pak Dodi from the Buleleng Tourism Office said, you can go see the dolphins from other places. This is just for large groups. If you want to go just yourself or with a couple of friends, well, you can go to the usual places like Banyualit Beach, Kalyasam, Pamaron, Antaran. These 4 places that I mentioned earlier, those are just for mass tourism because you can park buses there. And so this is an interesting thing. If they're going to bring people in, I don't know how that's going to work, but there's always schemes going on here. And one more Buleleng story, badass. Junk goods overflow to sidewalks, reprimanded but still stubborn. So this is in Kampung Anyar, which is right down the street here. And if you've watched my Singaraja snippets, you've seen this house, this building, this company that I'm talking about here in this article. You've seen them when we walked down Jalan Patimura. What a mess. So junk goods warehouses are rife in Kampung Anyar. Just look along Jalan Patimura. There are a number of junk warehouses there, and not just on Jalan Patimura, but also Jalan Merak, Jalan Dewi Sartika Utara, and Jalan Jalak. And I've had all of those places in my videos in the past and made some comments on them, especially the one in Jalan Patimura. Take a look at the image right at the start of this. This place is incredible. If it ever goes up in flames, Kampung Anyar is finished. Originally, the existence of the junk warehouse was not a problem, but over time, the goods have increased, and so they've spilled out into the sidewalk, they blocked the road, and so the police were out doing one of their Friday things where they go to different areas in Buleleng, and they have meetings for the community where they can voice complaints and bring up problems that they're having. Well, when they got to Kampung Anyar, what do you think they wanted to talk about? They wanted to talk about the junk warehouse. Thank goodness. One of the residents asked the police to take action against the junk entrepreneurs in the area. He said that the activities are disturbing the environment. No kidding. Sidewalks are used as places to place junk. Sometimes part of the road is also used. Yes, it is. According to the complainant, he said the owner has been repeatedly reprimanded from the sub-district administration, the community, and even the police. But he's stubborn and he ignores all of this. He said, please, to the police, find a solution. Upon hearing the complaint, the head of ops for the Buleleng police said that his party would immediately follow up. And Singaraja police will be doing routine surveillance of the area so that the activity of the junk warehouse is not detrimental. Wow. Now, I want to see what happens here, and I am going to follow up on this one because I've been complaining about this one for a long time, and it is just shocking. Really, really shocking. And in addition to hearing complaints, the police handed over tens of basic food packages to the elderly in Kampung Anyar. Thank you, Police Department of Buleleng and Singaraja. And a quickie here. Tighten security. Visits of Russian foreigners decreased. Chinese and Germans increased. Okay, so based on records from the Regional Office of the Ministry of Law and Human Rights, the visits by Russians have decreased. It is strongly suspected that this was a result of the action of individuals who were determined to commit various violations so that security was put in place. This is thought to have triggered panic and discouraged those people from visiting Bali. will discourage people who wanted to visit Bali, but see that there's increased surveillance of Russians in particular, and well, that could put you off from coming here. There are other places to go in Southeast Asia, Thailand, for example. In April 2023, Russian visitors dropped out of the top 10 compared to before. In January, they were in second place, February in third place, and March in eighth place. So you see a drop off here and even less now. So according to Pak Angiat, he said maybe Russians are afraid to come here now because they're afraid of being sanctioned. Could be. Maybe the word is spreading. Apart from the declining number of Russians coming, visits from other countries are stable, and there is an increase in Chinese and German foreigners. So maybe the actions of immigration and the Ministry of Law and Human Rights and the police and the government, maybe it's having some effect. I don't know. I haven't really seen many viral videos over the last week of foreigners doing bad stuff like insulting police or administrative people from the government. Maybe the crackdown and the deportations has been having some positive effect. Let's hope so. And that is it for today. It's Saturday. Time to take the family out to lunch. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Always be kind. Stay safe, and I will see you next time. Have a great weekend.